10 o'clock and it's time for the council to be in session. Ms. Misakowski is here. We have 2 members present. We need 8 more for a quorum. 10 minutes after 10, we have Mr. Goldberg, Mr. Kowski, Mr. Fuhrer, Padilla, 5 members present, and 5 more for a quorum and 5 members. Mr. Savornich, Mr. Holden, would you please come to the council chamber? Or we will adjourn for lack of a quorum. of Mr. Savornik. Use any means necessary. We have about 50 people from his district here. Call the roll.
Burnson, Chick, Fuhrer, Galanter, Goldberg, Hernandez, Holden, Miskowski, Pacheco, Padilla, Ridley Thomas, Varnish, Wax, Walters, Ferraro, 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Yeah, this is a meeting of the City Council, the late City Council, on the 22nd day of September 1999. There are 15 council districts in the city. The regular meeting days are Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We are currently being viewed by cable subscribers throughout the Los Angeles area on Channel 35, and we're also being monitored by council phone. The first order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
All right, Mr. Fuhrer moves, Ms. Goldberg second. If there's no objections, unanimous vote. The next item.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
There's no objections, unanimous vote.
On the regular agenda, item number 2, a request to continue that matter until October 6th.
There's no objections, unanimous vote.
Number 4, on the regular agenda, request to continue that matter till October 27th.
There's no objections, unanimous vote.
Item number 12, request to continue that matter till September 29th.
There's no objections, unanimous vote.
Item 15, a request to continue that matter till November 23rd.
There's no objection, unanimous vote.
Item 16, a request to receive and file that matter.
There's no objection, unanimous vote.
Item 26, request to refer that matter to the Budget and Finance Committee.
There's no objections, unanimous vote.
Item 27, a request to refer that matter to C&ED and Budget and Finance.
If there's no objections, unanimous vote. 27. No, refer to
Request to
committee.
refer it to committee.
Well, but the three that, Studio City, Westwood, and Sherman Oaks didn't go to committee.
It was requested by
advance.
Councilmember Fuhrer.
They didn't go to committee.
The request is to upfront fund startup programs as opposed to funding the consultant contracts. And I want to have a chance.
It's a loan. It's be completely repaid.
I know. I'd like to have a chance. We can do it very quickly, but I want to have a chance to read this, which should be a change in policy from what I understand, to provide upfront funding for this.
Mr. President, as committee chair that worked on the policy, this particular advance meets policy, and it has been part of the process. And as Ms. Goldberg stated earlier, when they were Mr. Fuhrer's BIDs, Because they met policy, they did not go
But
through
Mike, this
budget
is,
finance.
let me be sure I understand, though. This is not for the funding of a consultant.
That's correct.
No,
This is for the
money that's
funding-
being advanced for the first quarter work, which is
Right.
part of our policy.
Right.
Okay.
And then it's reimbursed to the general fund in January when we collect the assessment.
Today, we can do one of two things. I would request, my initial request was to refer it to the committee. I'm prepared to hold it to Friday while I determine its compliance with the policy situation. It's just a couple days.
I
and
have
think
no
a couple days
problems
will
with
make a
that. I
difference
just,
to that.
again,
That's
the only
fine.
reason I was bringing it to the attention is we established a policy for that reason, so that it wouldn't have to go through too many committees, so these
Okay.
be the ideas.
Well,
And
then-
I wouldn't want to see one council member basically receive preferential treatment over another
But Mike,
council
this
member.
is, Mike, the question though, hold on, Mike.
Yeah.
The only issue is that this comes from the reserve fund though, as opposed to from another kitty.
Well, except if it's Mr. Burnson, I take that back.
Yeah, well, it comes from the reserve fund. This is
Right,
allocation
and
from
we
the reserve.
understand that, and we
But
understand that.
since
And
they have voted,
Right.
since they have voted to assess themselves, since the assessment has already gone through the
Right.
it's gonna, and we're
the
gonna collect
county
revenue.
office,
Right.
for the county assessor's office, there's no risk.
Is there any jeopardy to this by
Let's,
holding it to
rather
Friday?
than,
No, you can hold it till Friday.
writing,
Friday.
rather than, let's hold it until Friday. Mr. Holden, you're not allowed to speak for 20 minutes because you were 20 minutes late.
Mr. President,
New rule.
No, we adopted that.
Ms. Sikowski?
Mr. President, can I ask for reconsideration of item 26, which is also sent
Wait, well,
to...
let's do 27 first. 27 is to be continued until Friday. There's no objection, that will be the order. 26,
26 you had sent to committee, and it was the same kind of issue. It wasn't a bid, but it was Adepska, one of the day labor sites that has finally opened in West LA. There's been money held for the last couple of fiscal years for it and never expended because the contract hadn't been signed. Now that it's up and opening, I'd rather not have this one go to committee. If we can satisfy Mr. Fuhrer,
who asked it to go to committee?
I
Huh?
assume it was Mr. Fuhrer.
Mr.
Mr. Fuhrer, can we also have Friday on item 26 brought back? This is the Adepska, the day labor site that's already open in West LA.
Cindy, I'm sorry, I'm being asked several different things at the same time here. Let's hold it on the desk. Let's have
Okay,
a
thank you.
conversation, and we can actually do it where we understand what's going on, okay?
Okay, 26 has not been referred yet, and we'll, okay, the next item,
Item 31A, a request from the city attorney to continue that matter till Tuesday, September 28th.
okay, anybody want to argue on that one? If not, unanimous vote.
Item 33, a request to continue that matter till September 24th.
There's no objections, unanimous vote.
For the continuance for Ms. Walters to be here, because I wanted to be able to discuss the item.
Which item?
Item 33, is it possible for it to be continued when I would be here, which would be next Tuesday, as opposed to Friday when I'll not be here?
You want to continue it until Tuesday would be the 28th?
The 28th?
If there's no objection,
Thank you.
okay, 33 is continued until the 28th of September. Next item,
Items number 1 through 3 on the regular agenda are items noticed for public hearing.
item 1, anybody want to be heard on item number 1? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Any discussion on item number 1? If not, we need a motion, and Ms. Sikowski moves, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
That is approved. Next item.
Item number 3,
We have a lot of cards on that, and it's a hearing, so we'll call that special. Mr. Savornich is 25 minutes late, so we'll, yeah, you were 25 minutes late, and we will not consider your items until 25 minutes after. Okay. Next item. Yeah,
items number 5 through 11 on the regular agenda are items for which public hearings have been held.
Item 5 through 11. Are there any specials? 5 is called special. Any other specials?
5.
Any other specials? If not, prepare the roll 6 through 11. Tabulate the vote.
12 eyes.
Those are approved. No, we got 12 here now. Yeah. Next item.
Items number 13 through 30 on the regular agenda, with the exception of 15, 16, 26, 27.
Okay, anybody in the chamber wants to be heard on any of those items? We have no cards. Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Any special by council members? Any special by council members? If not, we have 13 through 30 with the exception of 15, 16, 26, and 27. Tabulate the vote. Tabulate the vote.
12 eyes.
That's approved. Mr. Holden, do you clear your throat? Okay, the next item. Item 26, did we decide on that one yet?
Mr.
Oh,
Fuhrer? No.
okay. No, we'll leave it on the desk. Let's go. Next item.
Item number 3, called special.
Item number 3, we have a lot of cards. Forthwith on 13. Forthwith on 10. Okay, we'll start with those in opposition to this. Robert Christ, Philip No, and then Larry Wade. Would you get behind each other so we can move this as fast as possible?
My name is Robert Kirsty. I am an attorney at 3435 Wilshire Boulevard. I reside in San Pedro, and I represent this morning Chan Ki Choi, who operates a full-service market, Ranchero Market, at 210 North Pacific, which is just across the street from the Corporation Applicants Market. There is also a full-service market at 248 North Pacific, Jalisco Carniceria. There is also a full-service market, Carniceria Guanajuato, at 235 South Pacific. So the argument made by the applicant that people have to drive out of the area over onto Vaughan somewhere is not accurate. These are also full-service markets, and the Jalisco Carniceria already sells beer and wine. So anyone wishing to buy beer and wine at the time they're buying their groceries, their vegetables, their meats, can do that at that time. The market at this time, the applicant's market, is operated in a manner to only have a B health rating, whereas the other markets all have an A health rating. As you will see, the area is saturated with alcohol licenses, beer, wine, and liquor stores. The liquor stores all have groceries, and it's kind of like a traffic jam. A very good driver is going to have a difficult time if you keep increasing the traffic and increasing the traffic and increasing the traffic. I think this is a very poor time to put pressure on the Los Angeles Police Department by increasing the amount of alcohol in this particular area. Thank you.
Mr. No, and then Larry Wade, and then Sharon Anderson. Please line up behind each other. So.
My name is Philip No. I'm the property owner of the surrounding area. I live in San Pedro for 18 years, and I'm a businessman there. Not that particular area, but I just hand out the map and another sheet that shows the number of liquor store and the market in that area in San Pedro. And also, like to let you know that another store in the First Street in Gaffey requests beer and wine license again. They are pending now. So 2 stores requested the beer and wine in that area now. And today, I like to point out that several items that the Board of Appeal made some decision. I believe it's a wrong decision based on incorrect information. According to Board of Appeal report, paragraph 5(2)(a), if you have, I'd like to read some of them to you. There shows that the report shows that market has a 10,000 square feet market, about four or five times repeatedly shown on this report. But actually, that size is 9,100 square feet. So this is not true. The next one is Board had disclosed that the liquor outlet and the full service market on that specific area, right, presently doing the business, do not provide the full service. But I believe three store, Ranchero Market and the Jalisco Market and one Mexican Market right below the Bestway Market. They doing business carrying that full service. Full service, I believe, is produce and meat and grocery and other essential items to the neighborhood.
All right, thank you. We have Mr. Wade, and I'd
Thank you.
ask you not to repeat what's been previously said. Then Sharon Anderson.
Good afternoon. My name is Larry Wade, and I'm a resident of San Pedro for the last 40 years. And I've been on the last two appeals against two different other stores that were in this same establishment. And I really have a problem with, since these other two stores were denied their license, why this store is absolutely getting special treatment. Because just because the name changes on a store and you change the shelves around, you leave the paint the same, I don't think it's feasible. This area is real concentrated with alcoholic beverages. And I wish some of you people will come down there and see for yourself that there's no more necessary needed in this area. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sharon Anderson, and then Armando Avalos.
Good morning. My name is Sharon Anderson, born and raised in San Pedro. I'm here to campaign on behalf of the neighborhoods. There's a lot of drugs, a lot of alcohol, and the store, Bestway, does not need to sell alcohol for any type of reason. They call themselves a miniature Vons, but it's not necessary to have alcohol in the store because it's going to be a domino effect. And if any of you guys have been there, you would see what we're talking about. We're fighting for our neighborhoods, but nobody's listening to us. And I wish somebody would come down there and see what we are talking about. We're trying to save our neighborhoods, we're trying to save our kids, but nobody's caring because it's going to be a domino effect. And I wish somebody would hear me and come down there and see what I'm talking about. Thank you.
Armando, and then Art Schaffner.
Yeah, my name is Armando Avalos. I live in San Pedro for 38 years, and we're here trying to stop all this, all these stores getting licensed for selling alcohol. We already got enough stores out there selling alcohol now. By you guys giving approval for Bestways to get a license, you're gonna have the other markets and stores trying to get their license too. And like you see now, everybody's trying to, I guess, get their license too, like the way Bestway is. And that's what we're trying to stop right now, because we already got enough alcohol as it is out there.
All right, thank you. Art Schaffner, and then Lavetta Hill.
I'm Captain Art Schaffner. I'm a reporter. And the first thing, we was all trained not to lie or permit perjury. I give every one of you council people a copy that Bestway Food on page 5 in the middle of the page perjured themselves, and they got by with it, and they're doing it so they could go ahead and get a liquor license. Their statement is, if you read that, will tell you that they're making a statement that there's no other liquor stores on their street at all. If you want alcohol, beer and wine, which we don't need no more of those places down there, they have to go or the people that wants beer and wine has to go 2 blocks west to Gaffey, where there's 6 locations. And if you go to my page that I made up for you people, page 5, shows the crime, the knifings, and the killings. Killings alone, right there on First and South Pacific, is high because of the gang neighborhood up there on the housing. And I just want to make it short so the rest of these people can get it right. I don't like people that lie. And to lie in front of the Board of Appeal, I call it perjury. And I got my information from the Harbor Division, and the Harbor Division, we worked together down there. They said the crime is very high. And so we're asking you just to deny more hell on Pacific Avenue. Let me see here. I think my report will tell you everything if you read all the pages, that we're living in a hellhole, and add to it, we don't need it. I want to thank everybody down here.
Lavetta Heel.
Good morning, and I want to first thank you for the opportunity to speak again in reference to this particular issue that we are discussing. I myself am involved in youth activity. I'm an administrator at Bright Future Youth Development Center, which is located 1 block east of said market. This community is a depressed community, a community in trouble, a community that needs help, a community that is attempting to change and make differences in youth's lives as well as others. The problem is that it is a drug-infested area as well as alcohol-ridden area. We realize that there are already 11 existing permits in this community. The issue today is one more. Well, I don't understand how we can be discussing one more permit when we're discussing drugs and alcohol, well, actually wine and beer. But we need to think about, do we need more wine and beer in the community, or do we need a community to take a hold of what's going on and try and deal with it by stopping some of the issues? No, the market would not be responsible for people consuming the alcohol. But yet again, it's just one more.
Thank you, Ms. Hill.
Thank you very much.
All right, Robert Kaiser, and then Rosenwald Alexander.
My name is Robert Kaiser. I'm the general manager of Best Way Markets. We're located at 1320 Alondra Boulevard in Compton. There's just a couple of issues that have been brought up at previous hearings on this matter that I wanted to clarify. We purchased this property, a very blighted piece of property in a poorly run market. We completely renovated the property, upgraded it 100%. At that time, during the reconstruction, we approached Councilman Savornich's staff, and at that time we presented to them all of the restrictions in the application that you see. We self-imposed on ourselves the 7 to 10 hours. We agreed to have a security guard present from dusk until a half an hour after closing, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, which no other market in that area, including Vaughn's, provides. We also self-imposed restrictions on the packages. We agreed not to sell any single packages of beer, no 12-ounce, no 16-ounce, no 22-ounce, no 32-ounce, and no 40-ounce beer or malt liquor, because that is not the clientele that we wish to serve. We also agreed not to sell any fortified wines, such as Thunderbird or Night Train and the such, because again, that is not the clientele that we serve. We also agreed not to sell wine under a 750 milliliter size, and at the councilman's request, we agreed to remove the telephones from the parking lot so that to eliminate any of this possible drug business, which really we have nothing to do with. Appreciate your time.
Okay, Mr. Alexander, and then Adrian Bally.
Mr. Chairman and members of the City Council, I thank you for the opportunity to address this issue. I'm Rosenwald Alexander, the Human Resource Director for Best Way Markets. We bring not only hope and reality in improving the area, but we bring opportunities for jobs. We are an equal opportunity employer. We have placed documents before you that certify the approval of the previous boards and hearings, and out of respect to your time, we will just rely upon your good judgment and fairness to acknowledge Mr. Solanke and Bestway Markets this license as they have met all the requirements, dotted all the I's and crossed the T's. This is a textbook case of a businessman coming into the community in pursuit of the American dream. Thank you for your indulgence.
Thank you. Elaine Bally, and then Ray Machine.
Good morning. My name is Alan Bally, 700 South Flower Street, 11th floor, LA 90017. I am here on behalf of Bestway Market. I think they've already articulated their position quite clearly. The only thing I'd like to add is that we have, as part of the record, almost 1,000 letters of support. We have the support of the Catholic Church. We have the support of the Barton Hills Elementary School. We have the support of the Barton Hills Homeowners Association. This matter's been before the Board of Zoning Appeals, Planning and Land Management, and the same council has also voted to support the motion of public convenience and necessity. That motion was adopted about 4 weeks ago. Be happy to answer any questions that anyone has specifically regarding this market.
Okay, Ray McGee or McGagg. Oh, this is a different item. Okay, the next, that's all the cards we have on this, so the public hearing is closed. Mr. Bernson.
Yes, members of the council, the committee carefully listened to all of the testimony, and while this is an area that does have some problems, we recognize that. It seems that this is a new operator who came in and cleaned up an existing bad situation, and the type of clientele that they are catering to are not the type, as indicated by the conditions that have been put in by the zoning administrator, that would preclude the type of activity that would have beverages purchased and drank on the street or in the parking lot. I also added a condition that none of the beverages be refrigerated, which would also indicate that it's strictly going to be for home consumption and would facilitate the customers of the market not having to go to another location to make that purchase, in fairness to this particular operator. I would urge an aye vote, and I would move the majority report of the committee.
Hold on. Mr. Savornich.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. One of the things to which the speakers on both sides have articulated very well their positions is that there are some members of the community that very well express the need for serious attention in regards to this neighborhood. I took the time to take a look at Bestway's operation unbeknownst to anyone. I took time to drive over to Compton and to see their operation there unannounced, to see what type of operation that they did there as compared to what they were going to do on Pacific Avenue. And I was pleased with what I saw, but indeed I believe that the restrictions that were self-imposed as well as imposed by Mr. Bernson are restrictions to which we could operate but carefully watch to see if indeed this exacerbates a problem in the community or whether or not it leaves a status quo or if indeed improves. Based upon what I have seen so far, the improvements to the building, the type of operation that they're going to have is an improvement. Will it lead to more alcoholism or will it add to any more crime in the area? We don't know. I mean, you never know. But one of the things to which I am pleased is that a building that in an operation that was substandard before has now been brought back to an area that I think that will be beneficial to the community. One of the things that we have to understand, which is a bigger problem in this portion of the community of San Pedro, is the next largest supermarket is approximately 15 to 16 blocks away. And this is an area to which it is not easy trying to bring in a conventional supermarket because of the existing residential area and the existing zoning. I am sure that if we had an opportunity to have a major supermarket in the area, if land was available, that would be another step in the right direction, but it's not available right now. And there would be a whole lot of upheaval to try to bring that into the neighborhood. I've heard what the residents have to say who are here today. We're going to carefully monitor it, but compared to what we had before, this is an improvement, and indeed, we have received a lot of letters of support that this is a service in this neighborhood that is needed. But I would like to thank the committee for imposing some of the conditions that they did, and to Best Way to self-impose some of the conditions that the committee embraced, and I would like to move that we move ahead with this.
I did want to explain my vote in opposition to the market receiving the beer and wine license. We did hear from the testimony from the community, both here and in committee. But what was also persuasive to me is that the zoning administrator had initially turned this down. And he turned it down with some fairly dramatic statistics. What we have seen, I'm not sure that the council can see this, but we received a map showing the number of other liquor facilities already in the area. And most impressively to me, we saw other markets that aren't big supermarkets, but are markets that are selling grocery, meat, and produce that are surviving without liquor and trying to make a go in the neighborhood without liquor. In fact, the appellant is one of those markets a block away who is running a market without liquor and feels that this will be disadvantageous to him. But it wasn't just market competition. It was the statistics which indicate that in this area, crime is higher than average by at least 20%. The number of liquor licenses is 150% already above the theoretical limit. And the crime level is, at first it was listed to be generally 20% higher, it's actually 37% higher than citywide average. And in particular, it was going up over the last 2 years, where citywide it was going down. So that disparity was even growing. It was that element, and with the zoning administrator's statement, this is an obvious case of undue concentration, and any additional issuance of licenses would be completely unwarranted. My view was that I agree and believe that this is a new operator who's cleaned up the property, just gone in, and I would rather see a year or two of work as a market, and then on that good behavior and credit, move and ask for the license. As was indicated, we already have one of the ones that had been turned down that is now reapplied in the immediate area is 2 blocks away, the 7-Eleven. So we are going to be continually inundated in this area with more liquor licenses. The zoning administrator has already indicated his preference, his judgment, and the crime rate, I think, is statistic enough to say that at this point I did not feel comfortable warranting the granting of this and recommended granting the appeal rather than denying it and allowing the market to go forward.
Chair would like to recognize Councilman Hernandez.
Members of the council, I also rise on this issue because sitting in Plum, there were several questions I was asking, and I wanted to make sure, as part of the conditional use permit, there was conditions imposed on the operator that basically required security, required lighting, required some landscaping, required things that basically they wouldn't have to do if they weren't requesting this license, hours of operation and sales. Now, one of the dilemmas we deal with, and I also represent areas of the city with more than its fair share of liquor licenses, is the reality that we have to deal with a nuisance abatement process. And anybody who is selling liquor basically to minors, and anybody who is making this liquor available for purposes of drinking on the parking lot and so forth, I think has to be cited, and we have to deal with those issues. But one of the things that's bothersome to me in these same communities is the reality that you don't have full service markets going in. The reality is that these markets look at their margins of profits to make that determination. Now, if mainstream markets like Vons or Ralph's were applying to open at this location, the issue of the liquor license would be automatic, beer and wine. they wouldn't be considering opening unless that was available for them, because that profit margin is part of their overall operation that they take into account. Now, the other thing that happens as a full-service market is that family member that goes buys their goods is buying them for whatever reasons to take home. But the nuisance is not necessarily at these kinds of locations. The nuisance happens at locations where you don't have security, you don't have lighting, you don't have full services. And there has to be a process where we apply ourselves to those kinds of conditions. Part of that is the marketplace and the competition that goes on in that marketplace. I can share with you again that many times when we deal with the issue of alcoholism, the problem is not the supply, it's the demand. And how is it that we deal with that is important. But at the same time, when we're dealing with the market forces, the issue of competition can make a difference. But I think that there has to be more vigilance in areas where there is these kinds of proliferation of liquor licenses in terms of how they're conducting their business. And the nuisance abatement process has to be real, and it has to be used. Because if someone's conducting business the way it's supposed to be done, you don't have the kinds of problems the community's talking about. And so again, because of the market forces, because of the reality that this is a full-service market, I basically casted a vote in support of this license.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Mr. Wax?
Just briefly, Mr. President, sometimes issues like this, people wonder why we would spend so much time on an issue of this, because they are important to the people in the community, and they are important to the people affected by them. I think in an issue like this, though, the facts of any particular specific case are extremely important. And this is a classic kind of case where the councilman of the area probably is the best able to assess the pros and cons of a situation. And knowing how much Mr. Savornich cares for and how hard he has worked for and fought for the quality of life within his community, I really put the benefit of an assessment on this at his recommendation, and I'm going to support his request.
Mr. Burnson?
Yes, members of the council, I think by the comments you've heard, you can appreciate what a qualified planning plum committee you have, who really take the issues very seriously and examine it from all points of view. And everybody made good points and cogent points. The real answer, I think, though, I think that my determination was the fact that this was an improvement in the community, number one. It was providing a service. It certainly, with the conditions that were imposed, was not the type of operation that was going to put beverages to be consumed in the car, in the street, or in the parking lot. It was strictly for home consumption. Second of all, obviously, Mr. Savornich, who cares very much about his district, probably is in a much better position to judge than any of us. But third of all, I think what really needs to be done in some of these areas, whether it's in Mr. Savornich's district or Mr. Hernandez's district or my district, if there are locations where there are problems, we ought to be looking at them. The zoning administrator has the ability to impose new conditions on all conditional use permits, including those which are deemed to be approved, meaning that they were in place before they were governed by conditional use permit. So rather than trying to penalize somebody who's going into a community and trying to provide a market where there apparently is a shortage or not a major market in the area, I felt that it was important that they be given the opportunity. The conditions are very tough, by the way. These conditions can only be, under the conditions that were approved, it could only be for consumption by consumers at home. And I think that's the major problem. Where they have problems in an area where there are too many alcoholic beverage facilities, it isn't the ones that operate for home consumption. It's those that are selling products that are consumed on the street. They're consumed on the street, in the parking lot. People congregate in the area. There's no security. These are the type of things that ought to be looked at in these areas, rather than to try to stop somebody from putting a market in where they need this to be economically survive. And that's probably the reason that they contemplated the area in the first place. So I went along with the councilman of the district. I think this is a close decision, as pointed out, and I think Councilwoman Miskowski made some very good points. But I think on balance, that I would support the majority committee report, and I would so move. Thank you.
Mr. Holden.
Mr. President, members, I've been hearing about these liquor stores for a long time,
Ron, do you need that?
over-concentration, et cetera. But this is beer and wine, I think, is that correct? When you keep saying liquor, 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 people think in terms of hard liquor. This is also a convenience store, am I correct? A convenience store is put into a community for the purpose of providing an opportunity for those persons different hours of night to go there and buy some bread and milk and whatever else they like to have. And they usually take it home. Very often they don't. In those cases where they don't, then they become trouble spots. When they're trouble spots, we are notified of such, and we take some immediate and corrective action. In many cases, we close them out, put them out of business. But then, you know, we take sometimes a godlike position as if we know it all. We know what's good in your district, we know what's good in your district, we know what's good in your district, and they tend to close their eyes about what happens in their district. Sometime in the future, I like to see a policy, some plan or effort to look and see what liquor establishments we have in each council district, and whether or not the people who live there consider it to be over-concentration, and then maybe start trying to close some of them up and see what kind of squeals and yells we're going to get from members of the council. It just so happens that I don't think that we would ever turn down a major monopolistic supermarket chain from having a beer, wine, and hard liquor. You said it's good for business. We only tend to punish mom and pop. Now, when they're bad operators, they're entitled, they deserve to be punished. They deserve to be put out of business. Their hours are supposed to be regulated. But I have never voted for a supermarket where we require the supermarket to have security guards. They do it themselves because they think they want to protect their customers or clients, whatever the case may be. That's their judgment call. But at the same time, we put a judgment, we make that decision for mom and pop, and it makes it sometimes impossible for them to operate with a profit margin. They have to go out of business.
Thank you.
And my time is not up. I got 40 seconds.
Yes, your time is up.
No, I got 40 seconds,
Mr.
John.
Savornich.
Why you want to argue with me? I got 34 seconds.
Mr. Savornich.
You're a dictator.
You're darn right.
Thank you, Mr. President, members, and I appreciate the thoughtfulness of the Planning Committee. One of the things to which is a sad state of affairs in our community in regards to where grocery stores are located. Along Western Avenue, along the San Pedro Rancho Palos Verdes border, there are 5 grocery stores between 25th Street and Westmont, a total of 30 blocks. All of the grocery stores are located on the western part of San Pedro, right along the Rancho Palos Verdes border. In San Pedro proper, in the lower part of San Pedro, there is one. There is a Vons on 13th and Gaffey, and that is the only grocery store serving the entire rest of the community. The next closest grocery store, if you don't go up to Western Avenue, is to drive to Wilmington, and they just opened a Food for Less 2 weeks ago, or there's a Lucky Market that's been there for a long time. One of the things to which grocery stores have always said is that we would like the major chains is to open more venues in the community of San Pedro. But because of single-family homes on smaller lots, to which trying to assemble the property in order to put a large supermarket with its parking, to be able to do that, basically what you would have to do is tear down residential neighborhoods. And that is something that I am not willing to do at this particular point in time, if ever, unless some major redevelopment came in on Pacific Avenue. We're right at the process of starting the Pacific Avenue redevelopment study area. That's going to be completed 12 to 18 months down the road. And so the only solution for folks in the main part of San Pedro in order to purchase groceries is either to get to 13th and Gaffey, or to get up to Western Avenue to go shopping, or to rely on the type of supermarket that Best Way provides and indeed has beer and wine for sale at the location. Yes, it's a very difficult issue. Yes, it's a very hard issue to get your arms around in regards to some concerns of the community versus the need of the community. But for those of us who represent districts whose portions thereof are economically depressed or have seen the development of residential areas and not have room set aside for larger developments such as a grocery store that many other communities see, all the neighborhood can rely on are these types of supermarkets to provide a service in the neighborhood. That's why I'm asking for your aye vote today.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have item number 3 before us. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
10 ayes, 2 noes.
That is approved.
Mr. President?
Mr. Fuhr?
Thank you, Mr. President. If we could, for a moment, return to items 26 and 27. With regard to item 26, we've had further discussions, and I would move that we adopt item 26. And then, once that happens, John, if we could take up item 27, I'd appreciate that.
Well, you have to move reconsideration on 27.
I'll move reconsideration of 27, having requested a further briefing from the relevant department. 27 is, in fact, contrary to what I've been told before, in policy.
Okay.
And so I move 26 and 27.
Okay, we have 26 and 27 before us. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Those are approved. The next item,
Item number 5, called special by Councilmember Holden.
forthwith on 26 and 27. Mr. Holden, you got 2 minutes.
No, I got to have a report, Mr. President.
Yeah, you got 2 minutes.
I know, you always give me 2
Well,
minutes.
who's going to give you a report?
You give everybody else 3.
Who's going to give you the report?
Here they come, Mr. President.
Who? This should have been done in that first 20 minutes when you were late, Nate.
Right. What did he say?
Good morning, council members. Don Spivak from the Community Redevelopment Agency, with Mayor Alan Bell from the Department of City Planning, and Paul Smith from the Chief Legislative Analyst's Office. The item before you is to accept certain amendments to the Mills Act, which is currently in effect in the City of Los Angeles. The Mills Act is a piece of state legislation that allows for, and city options, reductions in property taxes for buildings that are historic, that are rehabilitated and maintained in their historic status. The first change is to expand the area of eligibility within the downtown Los Angeles area to include an area that is coterminous with the district that was adopted as part of the recently enacted adaptive reuse ordinance for the central city. And the second is to increase the city's own cap on the amount of tax relief that can be allowed, which is currently set at $500,000 up to an amount of $1 million. This is part of an overall program to assist in fostering and inducing rehabilitation of historic buildings, with a particular emphasis on adaptive reuse, and is a companion to the adaptive reuse ordinance and to other ordinances and legislation that have recently been accepted in Sacramento that will make us eligible to make use of that additional legislation.
Mr. President, have we reached the $500,000 cap yet?
No, we have not.
We have not. Then why would we want to raise it to $1 million if you haven't reached the 500,000?
One of the things that we're trying to do is
Well, tell me,
yes.
why you, what amount have we reached so far?
I believe it's in the range of about between $200,000 and $300,000.
Then we should wait until we get to at least $400,000 before you make the cap $1 million. I mean, it doesn't mean too much.
Well, the expectation is that with the emphasis on adaptive reuse in larger buildings, that we would very quickly reach the cap if we didn't undertake the amendment.
All right, it doesn't apply to larger buildings right now, is that correct? Or does
it applies to all buildings in the city.
Right now it does?
That's correct.
Then larger buildings that didn't take advantage of it. And they won't take advantage because you raise it to $1 million. The only thing that they'll take advantage of if you raise the percentage for which they can deduct from their tax base, then they'll say, yes, that might be inviting, which means they'll eat up all the money. And see, the real problem here is that organizations throughout the city of Los Angeles are trying to preserve their neighborhoods, its character, and they're establishing what is known as HPOZ zones. And they have the expectation is that they'll get a tax break on their properties once they improve their properties, restore it, and maintain it. And I think that goes on for a period of 10 years, whatever that break is. Is that correct?
It's
All
generally...
right, so if the downtown business people get theirs, these big high rises, the money could be gone in 1 year, but it's, and that is for 10 years, and for those who establish the zones, and for those who improve their properties with the expectation, one, that they will preserve their neighborhood, the character, and two, they'll be getting a tax break, the money will not be there, it'll be all gone. And that's why the planning department is recommending that such properties not be included in the property loss cap. The cap is $500,000 today. If you change this, it'll be $1 million, and that these properties be set aside. Now, the problem there is that if you make it a separate category, is that you don't know what that's going to be. You got to put a cap on that as well, because the loss, the money's lost would otherwise go to the general fund, will not therefore be going to the general fund. Is that correct? Yes, that's correct.
Yes.
Go ahead. You want to make
Yes,
a comment?
I'll ask Mr. Bell to answer the more specific question about the planning department's position, but generally we're talking about buildings, particularly in the adaptive reuse area, that are not being
I know what we're talking about. We're
rehabilitated.
just talking about money now.
That's correct, but if these buildings aren't rehabilitated, they won't be generating taxes anyhow. So it's a question of providing an inducement for some improvement. You would get less tax perhaps,
There's
but
all
you would
kind
get an
of
increase.
federal money and state money and opportunities in not doing it. How much money you have to give away to entice somebody to do that? Come on. What is it you want to say, sir, over there?
Mr. Holden, Paul Smith from the CLA. The council recently adopted the adapted reuse ordinance, and also we have a state legislative program to provide incentives to properties that are now underutilized, to have them brought into adaptive reuse uses, which can be live-work type things. The amount of money that is before you today, the additional $500,000 on a tax liability, is a nominal amount to induce folks to come into the downtown, the greater downtown Los Angeles, take buildings that are not producing any revenue for the city, make them back into taxable uses, and foster the growth of the downtown and the larger downtown area.
I've got to close out now.
But
the president is looking at me. I understand your point.
Okay.
I just want to say that I can't vote for this proposal before unless and until you include the planning department's recommendation to establish a cap for these different set of category of properties, and to protect the HPOZ residential properties with it, because they expect to benefit from this program, and the money may not be there. If you're willing to do that today, you got my vote. If you're not, you don't.
You got, okay.
I so move.
Mr. Pacheco.
I rise in support of this item primarily because, for me, I think the most important point made is that we need to revitalize the downtown community. I have a commitment to doing that. This will induce people to invest in the area. It sort of, to me, looks like 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing. So I'd rather have the inducements come in, generate some tax for the city, and provide some income to the general fund. I would like to support all those individuals in the historic core, so this is something that would definitely benefit both my district and my neighbor, Rita Walters district, so I would urge an aye vote on this matter.
Mr. Burnson.
Well, you know, the theory is right. This does generate improvement, and it does potentially add to the general fund rather than, it gives you something for where you had nothing. The real question is there a time limit on this? Is there an amount, you know, or a cap? What would be realistic, perhaps, if we were to do this, were to be if they were to, say, put $100,000 or $500,000 worth of improvements into a project, that the tax exemption would extend for the period of time in order to recover that amount. And then the city benefits because at that point they start collecting the full tax portion, and the the owner of the property has benefited because was able to use tax money, basically, in front to benefit his own property. So everybody benefits under that particular situation. I think Mr. Holden raised some good questions, though. And those good questions are about what is the cap, for how long does it go on? I'm not in favor of giving somebody who spends, say, $200,000 on their property to upgrade it for the area, to give them a tax break for the next 30 years, which could be 4 or 5 times or 10 times that amount. I don't think we should do that. But this is exactly the right formula, and I'm going to be bringing forth a motion very shortly that will require the strengthening of all of our non-ductile concrete construction buildings in the city of Los Angeles. We already have a voluntary ordinance, but nobody's doing it, and you saw what happened in Turkey and what happened in Taiwan. So I'm going to bring this forth. It'll be structured similar to the URM ordinance, which was completed, thank God. The buildings were strengthened prior to Northridge, and they survived. So this might be a very good method for inducing people to invest in strengthening these buildings, and we could all benefit by that and probably make our city a safe place in the future. So I'm going to support this today, but I would hope that we're looking and building into this thing some limitations on how long it goes on and what the amount is.
What was your motion? You had...
The motion was to separate this category of properties from the residential properties, and then, of course, those people who are establishing HBO zones in their own area, like yours and mine, would not be adversely affected. And it was still the program to go forward.
Okay. Was there a second to that? I didn't hear a second. Okay, so we have item number 5 before us. Prepare the roll. Prepare the roll on 5. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes, 1 no.
That is approved. There are a couple people that wanted to be heard on 5, but we already had a public hearing on that, so. And also, there's someone, I think, wanted to be heard on 7, which was passed before you apparently got here, and it was not a public hearing item anyway. The next item?
Mr. President, not on the agenda is special number 1.
Well, we still have, these are executive session. Yeah. Would you tell us what the special one is, Ms. Weingart?
Mr. President, I'm bringing special one in. We had been notified by the Office of Emergency Preparedness in the CAO's office, and actually the city had received notice from the United States Department of Justice that there was a grant available to the city. It is non-matching grant. We don't have to put up anything, but there is an expiration as of Friday if we don't get this request in. If it's awarded to us and ultimately accepted by the city, it would allow us to use it for purchases of first responder emergency services with specialized equipment that helps them to deal with hazardous materials, possibly chemical, biological weapons, and anything else that an urban terrorist might use. So it's available money that we should go after, and so since we just found out about it, that's the reason to bring it in special.
All right, Ms. Weingart, the findings, we'll vote on the findings. Okay, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
The findings are approved. Now we have the matter before us. Special 1. Mr. Padilla.
A 10-second commentary pointing to my motion, parts of which were passed last week, calling for an improved process or recommendations from city departments on circulating information to council offices, improving our awareness of grants that are available at other levels of government. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good comment. Prepare the roll on Special 1. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved. Next item. Forthwith on that.
Mr. President, before you now is items 31, 32, and 34, which are closed session items. So currently in front of you is public comment period.
Okay, Candido Mars, you got tired yesterday and left. And then we have Mort Allen.
Thank you, Mr. President, council members. You know, it seems that everybody's trying to find somebody to blame for the LAPD Rampart issue, and I'll call it an issue and not corruption, because until the facts are known, that's what it'll be for me. Rather than trying to blame the mayor, the city council, the public safety committee, and everyone else, why don't we focus on those that are guilty? Let's keep the issue based on those officers that have committed the crimes. Friday, I was here before you with an officer. He was a former crash officer, and he has spent his life, the rest of it, you know, the time that he has had trying to save children. So rather than trying to blame other people, I would ask that this council work together with the police department and the mayor's office to resolve this, because the people that really suffer, Mr. President, council member, are those that live in these areas where the gangs control. So I ask you to work together with the mayor.
Thank you, Candido. Your remarks are well appreciated. Okay, Mr. Mort Allen.
I'll be kind of brief. My name is Mort Allen, Studio City. I got involved in this about 4 months ago when Eller Media called me and said they wanted to sell their 5 acres downtown and move their 1,000 employees to Orange County because they couldn't deal with the city. And instead of taking the listing, I said, let me see what I can do. And I got really involved in this advertising thing, and then last night I was sitting home watching the hearing on the banners, and I just wanted to make a few comments because I have really dug into this, and I think Michael should be most interested in this because it's budget and finance, really. I happened to, this morning, there's still about 300 ABC banners on Ventura Boulevard. If any of you want to see this, it is so bad that all the businesses are hurting because you can't see the businesses. They're on every phone pole. Now, I talked to the shows at ABC. They have been billed $1,000 a banner on these banners. So ABC has gotten 1,000 free banners. They are making Mr. Eisner $1 million. Now, we checked with other cities who do use the phone poles, and the going rate is $250 per phone pole, even if it's a charity, because the theory is that you've all run for office. You still have to pay a fundraiser. You pay for the room. Even charities, the City of Hope, which I was president of the 500 Club, we had to pay for everything. It's all part of the fundraising. Now, the other part of it is that these phone poles are being paid for by taxpayers on these streetlight assessments. So the taxpayers are paying to upkeep these streetlights. You're giving them away, and these companies are redoing it. Last week, on item 36, you gave DreamWorks a bunch of banners for the release of Prince of Egypt. They moved out of L.A. ABC is moving to Burbank. And so there's a huge amount of money being missed. On the billboards, in Culver City, Eller has 8 billboards along the 405 freeway. They get $60,000 a month rent on freeway billboards right now. LA has been putting up one every 2 weeks with one company. Regency is the only one allowed to get permits along the freeway, and they're getting $60,000 a month. All right? I think that there's so much money in this advertising on bus shelters. Each panel goes for $1,000 a month. Now, you guys have never audited, and you haven't been getting the money. You got 1,300 billboards. Eller said they wanted to put another 1,300 up. They were going to give you $9 million in advance, and you guys said no. You want to give the one company. Now, you all know about this new rapid bus system that's going on Ventura Boulevard, and in early spring, where they're going to have these high-speed buses and a stop once every mile. They're going to have 28 bus stops. There are going to be 40-foot shelters on the boulevard. Each one's going to have about 10 advertising panels, which is like $1,000 a month. It was given to CBS without any RFP or anything. Public Works gave them these new shelters. And so a company like Eller says, we're going to leave LA. And I think it's ridiculous because let them have their 1,300 shelters that you've given CBS for the extension. But if you got 8,000 stops, let Eller have 1,500, let this other one. Now, if any of you want to drive through Burbank, Eller just put 500 shelters up in 2 weeks, brand new, beautiful shelters in Burbank. They're paying them 30% of the gross. You guys are only getting 20. Huntington Beach is getting 30%. And after all, we got 17-year-old shelters now. They're all broken down things. They're putting an ad panel on it. They're doing nothing. They should be giving you a lot more than 20%. I mean, because it's your land. And I've also talked to them about billboards. Other cities charge the billboards 10% of the income. Now, on Sunset Boulevard, they go for $30,000 a month. On Ventura, they go for $7,000 a month. There's no reason you're not taxing these billboard companies 10%. I mean, because there's, And the other thing is that you only gave CBS the exclusive in LA, and yet you got two companies doing the banners, two companies doing bus benches.
I'm glad you said you were going to be short.
Okay, sir. And I think anything else you want to know, I'll tell you.
Billboards, you're
next.
getting $1,000 a month for billboards?
What?
Did you say billboards are paying $1,000 a month?
No. On the freeway, 60,000. On Sunset 30. On Ventura Boulevard, 7,000. Now, I have a billboard on top of my
I had a
office.
billboard one time, and I got $25 a
But
month.
it's a big difference now.
Boy.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Huh? Okay, the public comment period is closed. Mr. Burnson, we have an executive session.
Yeah, just before, and we may be able to act on this after the executive session, I have a special coming in regarding the gymnasium and the swimming pool over at the Veterans Administration Hospital in North Hills. The Veterans Administration is having a hearing, I believe, tomorrow that on whether to close it or not, and this would basically disenfranchise many, many veterans throughout the San Fernando Valley and other parts of the city, because it's the only facility of its type that's left in the area. So I'm going to be bringing in a special one, and I just want to advise everybody, but we can have our executive session.
we're gonna go in
Hopefully, the special will be typed up by the time that I get it back, and perhaps
Okay.
Mr. Padilla will second it. Thank you.
Let's clear the desk off, and then we're going to go into executive session, and all those involved, not involved with the executive session, please leave the council chamber. Clear the desk.
Mr. President, request to be excused from council attendance, Ms. Walters, for illness on September 22nd.
Unanimous vote.
Mr. Pacheco, request to be excused on September 22nd to arrive at 10:30 for city business.
What day?
Today.
Unanimous vote.
Mr. Ridley Thomas requests to be excused on September 28th to leave at 11:15. This meets policy, city business.
Unanimous vote.
Mr. Padilla requests to be excused September 29th for city business. This meets policy.
Unanimous vote.
Ms. Galanter requests to be excused November 2nd and 3rd. Meets policy for city business.
Unanimous vote.
And Mr. Wax requests to be excused on October 13th and 19th for personal business. This meets policy.
Unanimous vote.
The desk is clear.
Okay, we're going into executive session.
You need a place to go work
No,
out?
we're not ready yet. We have other actions first. Okay, we're back in open session.
On item 34B, there is a request from the city attorney to authorize settlement in case Curtis Joe Garcia versus City of Los Angeles for the sum of $135,000.
All right, prepare the roll on that. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved. Next item.
Special 2, which is a motion brought forth by Mr. Burnson.
Okay, you want to give us a...
Yes, members of the council, the Veterans Hospital in North Hills has the gymnasium, which the Veterans Administration is attempting to close that, and this gym provides physical therapy for disabled veterans, is the home of our Olympic wheelchair basketball team. We further supported new seismic study to determine the damage and cost of repairs, and we'd add to that the swimming pool should also be kept open because of the fact that it services veterans throughout the San Fernando Valley, the city of Los Angeles, and neighboring communities, and is the only facility of its type in the entire area. So the need to act on this arose, my knowledge of it arose after the point when we would have had time to schedule it normally. So I move that we make the findings that was the case. And first, I guess we need to vote on the findings, right?
Yes.
I'd ask that, Mr. Farrow, you want to open the roll on the findings, please?
Prepare the roll on the findings. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, and I would move special 2.
Okay, any discussion? If not, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Forthwith. Thank you very much, members of the council.
That is approved, and we'll send that forthwith. Next item.
The desk is clear.
Yes.
Everyone, please stand. Mrs. Chair.
I'd like to ask you colleagues and Mr. President to adjourn in memory of Annette Hall, who was a resident of Reseda. She died Thursday in her home. She was 78 years old, and clearly some of you already know of her accomplishments. She was a veteran spokeswoman and former president of the League of Women Voters of Los Angeles, and she headed its very effective and productive pre-election ballot information program. She was president of the Interleague Organization of the Leagues of Women Voters in Los Angeles County at the time of her death. And she was also heading a league study on the San Fernando Valley's proposed secession from Los Angeles, aimed toward enabling the league to take a stand on this issue. She personified the League's policy of providing information on all sides of an issue, providing voters with information about candidates and measures without telling them how to vote. And during her long tenure, she established an ongoing relationship with the Los Angeles Housing Authority to set up the conduction of elections for their various housing developments. The article in the LA Times lists further accomplishments, but all very much having to do with enabling the voters and the citizenry and the electorate in Los Angeles City and County to be better citizens and to participate in a thoughtful way.
Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. I would like to ask that we adjourn in memory of Louise Mendiola, who passed away on September 14th. She was the mother-in-law of my Assistant Chief of Staff, Dan Cartagena. She was 63 years old when she passed. She was very active with St. Lucy's Catholic Church. She is survived by a loving family, her husband, mother and father, her daughters Jeanette and Eliza, and Jacqueline Marquez, 8 grandchildren, 1 great-granddaughter, and 2 brothers and a sister.
The council is adjourned.
Mr. President, you have to stay 20 minutes late.